talk about breasts.
Let's talk about you and me.
Let's talk about all the good things
and all the bad things.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of BoobTube. I am Chantel.
And I'm your breast friend, Jaleesa. Thanks for coming back to see another episode of BoobTube or listen to. And if it's your first time, we hope you enjoy it. And thanks for coming. So let's get into it. Last week we talked about, how the heat is here, right?
It's here.
And, if there's any place that knows heat, it's Houston.
It is.
If y'all haven't been to Houston during the summer, August. Yeah. It's hot. It's hot in Houston and it's humid. So another thing that Houston knows is music, some good old música. And right now, it's June 27th.
Hey.
And it's our own little Houston holiday. And if you don't know what June 27th is, then, you should Google it or ask Drake or ask somebody. You should find out. I'm not going to explain to you what June 27th is, but just know that it's a very special time for the city of Houston, Texas. Also, my brother's birthday. Happy birthday to you. So since we're representing for the city today, we're going to talk about how Houston is under reconstruction. And we're not talking about how 290 took 20 years to get fixed, rebuilt, whatever they were doing. We're talking about something else. We also not talking about how a lot of y'all are moving to Houston, even though we are closed. We are full. We are at maximum capacity. We are past maximum capacity. We are over capacity. Okay. Come here and then y'all want to complain about the traffic. You're causing it.
Somebody is upset.
I
ain't gonna lie, I was too. Why the traffic at 7 o'clock?
Exactly.
Why?
Exactly. Because there's too many people here. But anyway, that's another subject topic for another day. That's not even, for BoobTube, because that doesn't even have to do with the breast. But we're just talking about our city.
If you're trying to get somewhere where you need some breast care. Oh, okay. Moving on.
We do need breast care here. But yeah, that's not the reconstruction we're talking about. We're specifically talking about y'all's bodies. A lot of bodies are being reconstructed here in Houston.
Interesting.
And this we know.
All right. But first, we fall through traffic.
Yes.
Construction.
Fall through traffic and construction.
Reconstruction.
And reconstruction.
To get to BoobTube on the move.
Yes. So come along with us.
Yes.
Let's see what they have to say.
What do you think is one of the top breast surgeries performed here in Houston?
Probably a mastectomy through the cancer. And then the next is probably this and augmentation.
Okay. Can you freestyle about breast, bras, BoobTube in honor of June 27th?
It's going to be horrible, but I mean, boobs, titties and boobs, titties and boobs, hey, boobs, titties and boobs. That's it. That's all I'm going to do.
Bravo. And speaking of Houston, by any chance, I feel like you got a little freestyle.
I don't.
If somebody was about to pay you right there,
oh my
to freestyle about breasts, could you do this?
Yeah, maybe.
What you got?
Breast is the best. My name is Jay. That's all I got.
It's like that was the flip side or something after that.
That's all I got. I'm not much of a rapper.
That's probably would have still got you,
A
like
little
little money.
bit.
Like out of the $1 million prize, they might
Oh
give you like $10. Just,
I love it.
Y'all want to freestyle about some breasts?
Can y'all rap? Can y'all do a little rap about breasts?
To a point.
If it was like $1 million on the line, could you do it?
I would not be able to do it.
Can you rhyme about breasts?
Can I rhyme about breasts?
Yeah, like a 5-line poem, 4-line poem.
Y'all can work together on this teamwork.
We'll give you a moment to deliberate.
What kinds of breasts?
best. Here we go.
Big breasts inside the vest.
Okay.
Big breasts are
Inside the vest. I don't know.
big breasts inside the vest.
Okay. So we got big breasts are the best and inside the vest?
Yes.
Okay. That's two lines.
Somebody mixtape in no time. All right.
What do you think is one of the top breast surgery performances?
Yeah. Probably reduction. I would imagine so. I would say reduction.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say reduction.
And then yes, by any chance, you do a freestyle on the raw.
All right, I'm gonna really try. This is off the dome.
Okay, yeah, that's what we wanted.
All right. I'm gonna say. Let me think. I said.
Welcome out, everybody, once again.
I like a dark skin with a double U.
Welcome to Ebony in Houston.
I asked why she can't come fuck me. She said she's looking for love. I said, baby, please.
We appreciate you being
It's been a couple nights on the eve. Let me show you a couple little things. You can unclip your bra quickly. You know what I mean? Now I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna leave it right there.
That was good.
I'm gonna leave it right there.
You got to put that on the track.
Come on now. Fly.
So boob tube on the move.
Yes.
I actually thought we would have a little more freestylers here in Houston. You know, maybe we just didn't get the best batch
Maybe they
when
was,
it comes to that.
Yeah, maybe they was in the studio.
You're right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of studios here in
There
Houston, so
are.
maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
But you know, we did get some freestyles. We had some attempts.
Yeah. And
It worked out. You know, we had some teamwork making the dream work.
you did. That did happen, and I think one was dedicated to you.
Hey, I didn't ask
you
for
put a little
that.
effort.
We're not gonna say that was dedicated to me.
Okay.
Well, actually, you are gonna say it. I feel like
There was a little energy.
You won't let me live it down.
There was there was a lot of energy flowing your way from dude with the freestyle.
I was just there to do the interview. That's it.
Yeah. But you asked for a freestyle, you got it.
I did. People play all day, y'all. People play all day. We just getting a freestyle. But yeah, maybe it was towards me.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, do you have a freestyle in you?
Ooh. I think I would have to write it down. I don't know if I could just go at the top of my head. I mean, let's see. Let me see. We can make the dream. We can be the dream team.
Okay, we can do that. We can do that.
What would be my first line? What are we gonna do about just breast, boob tube, bras? What are we gonna do?
All of the above.
All right. I sell bras because I support the cause. What you got? Come on. You gotta go with it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Ain't so easy, huh?
It's not. We talk about breasts every day because that's what we deal with.
Hey, get a bar essay.
Girl, leave it out. I'm gonna go back with breasts on the vest, wear it with a vest.
It was supposed to be a bar. You came with 16 of them.
That was not 16. Oh my goodness.
All right, 15 and a half.
I'm gonna come back. Not yet.
Hold on. No, we gotta see this through.
We don't.
We wanted people to do this for us.
I know, but it's hard.
Yeah, we can't fail so miserably. Okay, what was I say? I sell bras because that's for the cause.
This ain't it for me.
I was trying to say, hold on, I sell bras because I support the cause.
Meet us on the street, catch us with the beat.
Was it supposed to rhyme?
That's boob tube. No, you ain't got to. I'm trying to.
I was gonna say, okay, I sell bras because I support the cause. Some of y'all walking around here breaking laws
in your drawers.
in your drawers. I feel like our rap career should end right here. No,
This reminds me,
okay.
was that movie with Dalmatians?
Oh,
Something that we were
Lord.
trying to rap. No, it's too good. They called themselves the Dalmatians.
No.
Never mind. One was white, one was black.
Hold on. The song with the fall in love with hip hop, Brown Sugar.
Yes,
Brown Sugar.
yes.
Yes. It was so bad. Okay. If I got to write it out and have a little more time,
I think I can write it out.
I think I could be
But that's
decent.
not that's not freestyling.
Yeah. No.
But I think I would be good if I could write it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Next time I'll have something written down and we can go for it.
I have some cousins that can freestyle real well. I think they would have been, way down the line. I could see if they want to do a little cameo or some little recording for Bluetooth. Be like, hey, do a freestyle.
I'm gonna stick to the
about
talking.
breasts.
I'm not a freestyler.
We know because you just gave us a whole speech. When you supposed to give us a bar.
A speech.
An acceptance speech, inaugural speech.
It was not that.
It just kept going and going.
Sometimes it happens.
Huh?
Maybe if I said a little bit faster, it
maybe.
But I didn't. No.
Yeah, you were just like talking. It was hilarious though.
I'm glad I could be a comedian. Perhaps we could talk about make you bring, the comedic side out. Maybe.
Stick to your strong suits.
I don't know what that is yet. I'm still figuring it out.
It's not freestyling. That's what it's not. Let's start with what we do know. It's not freestyling. Woo.
I never said I was. I was just trying to give us a try.
Same.
Avid other people too. And so I think that they learned something about themselves today too. Some of them never should try it again. Just like I should never try it again.
But we had to put ourselves out there the same way we expected.
Yes.
For our guests to put themselves out there.
Yes.
So we appreciate y'all, and I hope y'all appreciate what we just did.
Or tried to do.
It was a mess.
You ended it strong.
Yeah, it was a good laugh. It was a good laugh.
I ain't there yet, so I'm okay with that.
If y'all got some freestyles y'all want to give us, like, feel free, post them, tag us, send them to us. We accept.
Because we can, maybe we can feature. We'll talk, freestyle about breasts, bras, boob tube. Let us know.
Yeah, we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to our
regularly scheduled program,
our Houston Appreciation Day. That's it. But we're bringing breasts to the city. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about what reconstruction is, because there are a lot of breast surgeries that could take place, and they fall under different umbrellas. So first, we talked about reconstruction. So obviously, like in the word reconstruct, you're making it different. I'm trying not to use
You're making it to what it was.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Again, you're making it. You're forming it into its former state, or
a new state, Yes. So of course, that's just making some changes, some alterations to make it look different.
Because that could be a lift,
right? Or you could get them smaller. You can get a reduction.
Yep.
There are a lot of different things that you can do. So then we have augmentations, obviously, where you can make them bigger. So you're going to be adding to them. And then we also have mastectomies where, of course, it's a preventative measure for cancer purposes, where you would get it removed. And then a lot of times the mastectomies lead to reconstruction.
Yes.
So that could be put in some tissue or fat or muscle, whatever, back there to form that boob.
Yep. So, and we're not here to talk about that ourselves.
Right.
So, we have some experts. And so, because there's just so much that goes into surgeries that we had to bring in the experts. So we have a couple of amazing guests today to discuss the various surgeries that happen here in Houston.
Yes, showing love to our city. So let's see what they have to say.
All right, so for June 27th, we wanted to not only show love to our city, but also to those professionals working with breast in our city as well. We're joined by one of Houston's finest surgeons, Dr. Rednam. Thank you for being with us. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
You did. You got it. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us on this very important conversation, interesting conversation. We are interested to learn more about you and about the work that you're doing. But first, how long have you been working in Houston?
So I've been working in Houston for about 8 years now.
Okay.
All right.
Good deal of time. Thank you for servicing our city.
Yes.
I love it. It didn't start as my home, but it is my home now.
Well, welcome. It's the same for a lot of people. You're not alone. Okay, so also, can you tell us about the breast surgeries that you do perform?
Sure. So I perform a pretty wide variety of breast surgery, both cosmetic and reconstructive. So in the reconstructive realm, I always tell people there's two types of breast reconstructions. There's really type that we're using your own body to recreate your breast. And then there's a type where we're using implants to recreate your breast. And then there's a kind of almost a third little category, which is becoming more popular now, which is something called a flat closure, where women opt not necessarily to have their breasts recreated, but they decide to have a really smooth kind of aesthetic flat closure so that they can then choose to potentially have some sort of prosthetic later down the road.
Does that mean like the flap closure up here? Wait,
so it just means that they just want a smooth chest closure. So and the reason plastic surgery even gets involved with that is because we make it so that it looks really nice and smooth. There's not like a lot of excess skin. And so it's something that's really comfortable for somebody to have if they choose not to actually have the full breast reconstruction.
Got it. Makes sense.
Which is the surgery that you perform most? You mentioned
from a reconstructive standpoint?
Either one.
Okay, so actually in the cosmetic realm, probably one of the most common surgeries is a breast augmentation with implants. Okay. So that's a weekly type of surgery. It's still one of the most popular types of cosmetic surgery out there. So those are very, very common. And a lot of times that's combined with a lift, but it's probably more common just to have an augmentation alone. For me in the reconstructive world, using your own body tissue, so doing something called a deep flap, which is DIEP, is the most common type of breast reconstruction that I do.
Okay, I have a question. What is there an average breast cup size that you're normally augmenting?
Yes. So if you can guess, the most popular cup size is a C cup. It's just most people will come in and say, I just want to be something around the C. I tell everybody that cup sizes they're difficult because they're proportional. A lot of times you think, oh, this number goes to this cup size, and that's actually not the case at all. It all depends on your body frame. So I laugh, like I'm 5 feet tall and I'm a C cup, but you put my size in somebody who's like 5'8" and they're going to look like they don't have much of anything. Right. So it's all about your proportion for how big your cup size is. But generally a C cup is big enough that you feel like you have nice breasts, but not so big that it's causing you back pain or neck pain, or really kind of interfering with things.
Okay, we understand that. Okay, so media plays an important role in today's world. So are there any trends that you're seeing in the media to where women are having these requests based on what they're seeing in the media?
Absolutely. Media, and especially social media. Right. So TikTok has a big influence on things, for better or for worse sometimes, right? But we notice with breast augmentations over time, there's this swing that kind of goes back and forth where big breasts, smaller breasts, big breasts, smaller breasts. And we're actually moving into a time period where smaller breasts are becoming in vogue again. And we're seeing it in a lot of celebrities, right? Who suddenly look like they're just a little bit smaller up top. And so that's kind of it's an overall body trend happening right now where the curvy look is going a little bit out. And this is from a social media standpoint, because I think that certain looks are always going to be popular. It doesn't matter what social media says. But overall, based upon the media right now, it's more this like slender, smaller breasted look that's more popular right now.
And you would know about social media because you have a pretty nice page going on TikTok and Instagram.
I put a lot of time into it.
Yes, I'm glad that you do that and have fun with it too.
Yes.
It is. It's a new way to educate people, right? And
Right.
like I feel like there's a lot of people putting out information that's not great. And so I feel like I think it's wonderful that, you know, those of us who can, like, let's try to put out really good quality educational information so that everyone's making decisions based upon facts and not just a trend, you know?
That's
Right.
important.
And from what you said, do you see that kind of going hand in hand with, it seems like a new trend is starting or has started to where women who have had augmentations or even, I don't know, injections, all sorts of things, and now they're like removing them. Have you seen that? Do you think that's playing a role into what you were just saying?
Yes, I think that that's part of it too, is that there are some women who get breast augmentations very young, right? So they turn 18 and they get their breast augmentation.
Mhm.
And, you know, we all don't make the same, like 18-year-old me made very different decisions than 40-year-old me makes.
Right.
And thankfully, you know, and so sometimes, which, you know, so if you're young and you decide you want a breast augmentation, you might go bigger than you maybe want later in life. So I
Mhm.
am seeing more people who had really young breast augmentations and they either downsize their implants or they choose to completely get rid of their implants. And it's just, sometimes it's not because they're having a problem with them and they just change the way their taste. They just change what they, how they want their parents to look.
Right.
Makes sense. Next question. What demographics make up the majority of your cosmetic breast surgeries as well as your reconstructive breast surgeries?
So I would actually say I probably from a cosmetic brace stuff. I actually think I get a little bit older crowd. While I do have some probably in the mid 20s for purely cosmetic breast augmentations, I would say actually majority of my patients are in their 30s and 40s. And I think a lot of it too is like you guys are saying, it's kind of like what you put out there, and I think that I might just have an appeal for maybe a little bit older crowd. But from reconstructive, I see all age groups. So, I mean, a lot of reconstructive is, you know, I have doctors that I work with who refer to me, and then a lot of it is just kind of word of mouth, how people hear about you. But I have taken care of 20-year-olds up to 70-year-olds with reconstruction.
Okay.
That's cool to know. What would I understand that, you know, there's a variety of surgeries that you do perform, but what is the typical recovery process for some of your breast surgeries?
So for most breast surgeries, it doesn't matter actually what type of surgery you have. Almost everybody's going to tell you 6 weeks of no heavy lifting with restrictions. And that doesn't mean 6 weeks of you doing absolutely nothing. Doesn't mean 6 weeks off of work for most people. It just means for 6 weeks, we don't want you doing super strenuous stuff. I don't want you lifting at a gym or, you know, helping somebody move. But at 6 weeks, in 6 weeks, your scars have 80% of their final strength. And so then at that point, you can start pushing and doing a little bit more. You're not going to hurt yourself at all. But I would tell you for the average breast surgery, most people need about 2 weeks off. If you have a desk job, that's plenty. A lot of people are working from home still. You know, there's a lot more jobs that have stayed that way. If you're working from home, you might only need a week off, you know, and then you can get back to working. So I would say most breast surgeries on the cosmetic realm are pretty easy maintenance and easy recovery. On the reconstructive side, it's a little different. You know, you still might be in that realm of 2 to 3 weeks of not doing heavy stuff, but there's a lot more things that go along with breast reconstruction. You know, there may be somebody who's undergone chemotherapy. They may have, you know, radiation, other things like that that kind of complicate and might mean they have to be out longer. For something like implant-based reconstruction, though, even though it may be 2 stages where we have to do the full breast reconstruction, there's still maybe each stage 2 to 3 weeks of downtime before they can kind of get back to things. If I'm using their own body tissue, at that point now we're pushing to more of that 4 to 6 weeks. Some people are just amazing. They pop right back up and they might be the 3 week person, but it's mainly because now it's not just their breasts. We're using their belly to recreate their breasts. And so it's like having you know, having a tummy tuck and your breast done at the same time.
That can be a lot.
It can be a lot to go through, which is part of the reason why no matter any of these surgeries, having somebody to help you, whether it's friend or family, is really, really key.
That sounds about right. So what does the maintenance look like? After surgery, recovery, after recovery, what does that look like?
So whether it's reconstructive or cosmetic, the maintenance is pretty much the same for implants. And what that means is that they're not lifetime devices. All the companies in the US that make implants have 10-year warranties. And it doesn't mean that, I always tell people, they're not tires, they're not going to explode. But they're not meant to be forever, especially if you're young getting them. So after 10 years, there's wear and tear increases each year by about 1%. But our professional societies will actually say that maybe anywhere from 15 to 20 years is where they may recommend, if you're not having any problems, to then go ahead and replace your implants. So I think it is a little bit longer than just the warranty. But there's some people just don't feel comfortable with that. They don't like the idea of something that doesn't have a warranty in their body. So if that's the case, then coming in every 10 years and getting an implant exchange is not unreasonable to do as well. When it's your own body tissue, there is no maintenance really. Your body, our bodies still age and things like that, but there's nothing, it's still your belly. Or some cases your thigh, just depending on how the breast is being recreated. And but you have more of a recovery on the front end, but you don't really have anything to maintain because it's all natural.
Okay.
I don't know if this is a silly question, but I know you mentioned like using tissue from your belly to go into your breast. Is there a such thing where people remove tissue from their breast and put it in other places, or no?
No, that's not so question, but no, it wouldn't be, only because your breast tissue is like, it's glandular tissue. And so you wouldn't really be able to move it to some other place and it makes sense, versus even though your belly looks like breast, when you do that, it's just skin fat. So there's nothing more that changes or grows with it. So that's not a stupid question.
Well, at least I learned.
You'd be surprised at what you can move around.
Yeah. Well, at least now I know that it's a different type of tissue, like the glandular tissue is here, and then the fat tissue, whatever. I don't know, is in your stomach. So
if you can imagine any place that you have skin and fat, you can move around, usually, as long as we can trace back the blood supply, which is why your inner thighs can be used, your lower bottom can be used. There's a lot of different places you can get tissue if you need it.
Okay.
Interesting.
Did you have to, Chantel?
Yeah, I want to ask too, like, how long does it take for the reconstruction to look new? Like, after you had the surgery for it to look new?
Oh, like before you feel like it looks really great?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I will tell you, reconstruction is almost always in steps. There are some people who are just like their breast starting before cancer, were in good position, the nipples in the right position. So you can do something called a direct implant, which means it's basically like a one-stage surgery. A lot of people just aren't great candidates for that. So most people will require anywhere from 2 to 3 surgeries. Okay. And if you think about that, you're spacing those out maybe 3 months a piece. So I tell most people it may be a year before we're really to a point where things are looking like better and that they're feeling good and they're happy with how things are looking.
Okay.
When it comes to overall breast care, what would you say is the most important thing?
For just in general, I mean, most important thing is it seems like obvious, but it isn't, is that like getting to kind of know what your breasts feel like. We talk about self exams, and I don't think that some of us have fibrous breasts, some of us have really soft breasts. So kind of getting at some point knowing what your breasts feel like, because then that's the only way you're going to know when something doesn't feel normal. Getting your mammogram starting at age 40. Some people will start earlier if they have a really strong family history. But you can't, if you don't screen, then how do you know something's going wrong? And you'd be surprised at how many people are on their first mammogram are like, oh my gosh, they found something. But that first mammogram might be 45 because it's like, I'll do it, I'll get to it, and it's important. So I think that screening is one of the biggest things that you don't want to neglect.
Right. That's good. Makes perfect sense.
It does. I have a question around breastfeeding. Can you breastfeed with implants?
You can. So as long as depending on the position. So for most people, we put the implants either under the breast on top of the muscle or partially under the muscle. muscle. But in both of those scenarios, you're not actually disturbing the breast at all. So it's just sitting on top. And they've actually done studies with implants showing that there is no evidence that there's any silicone or any other sort of materials that go into the breast milk. So it's basically it's as far as your body's concerned, yes, your breast is pushed out, but your breast can actually function normally.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah. All right. We like to end on a positive note, although this has been good information anyways, but we love to promote body positivity here on BoobTube. And so what advice would you like to give to viewers about their own body positivity?
So I love that because I'm all about body positivity. None of us comes in one exact shape or size. If I had to leave anybody with something, it's remember that anytime you're even considering surgery in your breasts, whether it's reconstructive or cosmetic, it's about you and only you. Don't ever do something to make somebody else happy. If you feel like your breasts are too small and you feel like you'd be happier, more confident being bigger, then go for it, right? Like it's only about you. That should always be the person that matters most when you're considering doing something.
Love it. Love it. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, it reminds me of the song "I'm Pretty" by TLC.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm a music person, so I'm always
that's the
something
theme.
going on upstairs.
There is something always going on up there.
Get to know. I'm always thinking or something. Mm-hmm.
So where can folks find you on socials in Houston? Where can they find you?
So on Instagram and TikTok, I'm just at Dr. Dr. Rednam. And it's REDNAM, not Redman, which happens a lot. But that's the easy way to find me, or simply just going to my website, which is just drrednam.com.
Oh my God, how often do you get called Dr. Redman?
A lot. There's actually only one other Dr. Rednam in town, and that's my brother. So we do very different things. So he would definitely not be the person you want to talk to about anything I do.
That would be funny.
What is he a doctor of?
He's a pediatric oncologist.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah. No call.
I'm saving the world one boob at a time, and he's curing kids with cancer. So it's totally
I literally say that all the time for uplifted. Well, 2 boobs at a time. Technically.
2 boobs at a time. They come in pairs. You're right.
Right. I say that all the time. That's funny.
Yes. Well, it's been a pleasure. This has been great information. Learn some new things and great resource to have in your toolbox if you're thinking about those or know someone else who is. So thank you, Dr. Rednam.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your day. We know you're busy, saving the world 2 boobs at a time. So it's amazing to have you on here. And of course, keep doing what you're doing. Not that you were about to stop, but just encouraging you.
Well, thank you guys.
Of course. So today, since we are talking about Houston and showing Houston appreciation, we have an amazing Houston tattoo artist joining us today that plays a great role in breast reconstruction. So welcome our guest, Shara Wattis.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you for joining us today. So can you tell us how long you've been working in Houston?
Yes, I have been a tattoo artist now for 21 years, and about 18 of those have been in Houston.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's home.
Yeah, it's like you found a home here.
Yeah.
Where were you before that?
I was born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then moved with my ex-husband was military, so we moved to Oklahoma, and then eventually Houston. I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
What part of Oklahoma?
Lawton, Oklahoma, Fort Sill.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, Houston is home. Hey, can you explain to our guests exactly what it is that you do and what paramedical tattooing is?
Absolutely. So I work for 28 plastic surgeons here in the Houston area, and I go to 8 of the major hospitals here in the area. And what I do for them is I tattoo their breast cancer survivors. The doctors have removed their breast due to breast cancer, which is called a mastectomy. And so once they've gone through all the process for the doctors to rebuild and reconstruct their breast, most of these patients are left without a nipple. And so I come in and I use some realism tattooing and highlights, optical illusions, shadows, that type thing, to make it look like this patient has a protruding nipple.
Okay. Are there times where like are there times where people like have the surgeries but they are able to save the nipple and areola, right?
Yes, that
Okay.
is called a nipple sparing mastectomy. And it's kind of risky. I feel like it's a hard thing for the patient to go through, because they go into that mastectomy hoping to wake up and that they still have their nipple. And sometimes it is very effective, but sometimes that blood supply has been compromised too long. And so now the patient wakes up and they do still have their areola and their nipple, but it loses its blood supply. So then they have to sit there and watch their nipple die. It'll start to become necrotic and will die, and will actually get to the point that it flakes off and leaves a huge scar. So it's really traumatic.
That was insightful. I did not know that. Yeah.
You opened a can of worms on that one, but yes, it's traumatic what they go through. And then if you could only imagine having that compounded with necrotic areola, it's just really, really hardening.
I get it. I feel like I had a client before that said that she had the mastectomy, but she did have them spare the nipple. But I don't know if it had been enough time for that to happen. I think so. Maybe she was just one that was fortunate enough to not have had the blood supply cut off for too long. I'm not sure.
So good. Depending on how aggressive of a mastectomy or how soon they, like I know a lot of my patients that they discovered they had the BRCA gene. And so they elected to go and have more like a preventative mastectomy done. They're able to keep their areolas. And it's just absolutely beautiful what these doctors can do.
Okay. And that's a new one too. BRCA. I was like, oh, I said broad cancer. Breast cancer. Great.
Yeah, the BRCA gene is where it's hereditary. So you can actually test it and find out if you have that gene that says more than likely, yes, you don't have breast cancer right now, but you're going to.
Right. I've seen people do that. Go ahead and get a mastectomy because it runs in their family.
Yeah.
Dropping all of the gems.
I know, right? I had a BRCA2 patient, was one of my patients today, and she had lost her mom to breast cancer. Her sister is a survivor, and now she's going through it. So it's just so sad when it hits the whole family like that.
Right. That is unfortunate. Okay, so can you tell us how you got into paramedical tattooing?
Yes, so I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was looking for a profession where I could set my own schedule, and I started looking into doing hair, doing nails, being a realtor, anything that I could think of where I could still volunteer in my kids' classrooms. And I really wasn't passionate about any of it. And then I feel like God kind of snagged me one day. I wanted to have my eyeliner tattooed. And so I started researching who to go to and who to trust to have my eyeliner tattooed. And through that research is where I saw that they were starting Oklahoma's first state accredited paramedical tattoo class. And it was just like a light bulb went off. And so here I am 21 years later.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, any experience before then, or like any interest in tattooing before?
I don't even have a tattoo. Like when I walk into these doctor's offices, they're like, "You're the tattoo artist?" Like, you know, the whole saying, never trust a skinny chef. Like, I don't have any tattoos, but yeah, no interest. I used to own a dance studio. Before that, I taught ballet, tap, jazz, ballroom dancing to one of the military academies. So my background was in dance.
Wow. I was just thinking about another client who mentioned who moved here, I think from California, and was saying that she was doing ballroom dance, specifically tango, I believe.
Oh, fun.
And I was like, cool.
My childhood dream was to work on a cruise ship someday and get to dance with Patrick Swayze.
Oh, crazy.
So I'm dating myself now, going back to Patrick Swayze days. But yeah, I used to want to dance on a cruise ship.
That sounds like fun and a great dream to have.
Yes. Now 6 kids later, I'm kind of like, sorry, mom's gone. I'm off on the boat again for 6 months. I'll see you later.
Wow. All right. So when it comes to breasts specifically, what all does paramedical tattooing entail?
Yes, so it's typically done in 2 treatments, just because we are working on compromised tissue. That tissue can't tolerate a whole lot of trauma in one setting, and so our patients will come in generally around 6 months after their reconstruction is done. And we'll do 1 setting of their tattoo. And in that first setting, we really try to get the base of the areola and the base of the nipple created. We send them away for 6 to 8 weeks, and then they come back, and that's when we start putting all the little realism, the wrinkles, the Montgomery glands, and the lighting and shadows. So that's when the magic happens.
How long does like the first session take, and then the second one?
Yeah, so the first session they're with me for an hour. The second session they would be with me for half an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay,
Most
so
patient insurance covers it for them as well. Thank goodness they passed the Breast Act. So it's typically reimbursed by their insurance.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So how often would you say that you're tattooing nipples and areolas on women who've had mastectomies or other breast surgeries?
5 days a week. I do anywhere from 5 to 13 areolas every day.
Wow.
Like right now, my schedule is slower because everyone's insurance deductibles have just started over.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, come the end of the year, as soon as October hits and it's breast cancer awareness, everyone's like, oh my gosh, I've got to hurry up and get in and get everything finished while I've met my out of pocket. And so October, November, December, I'll be doing 12, 13 areolas every day of the week, just trying to get everybody in before the end of the year.
Oh, wow.
It's sad and it's scary how many women have breast cancer.
Yeah.
Yes,
Are you seeing a certain demographic? Like, are you seeing younger women? Are you tattooing younger women as well?
It's getting younger and younger. I recently just tattooed a 26-year-old.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's I'm aware of. Breast cancer does run in my family, and I have had a cousin who did the preventative mastectomy, and I'm just hearing again young women being diagnosed. So it's great that you provide this service, because I know the younger women, and I know all women probably feel this way, self-conscious at some point, but I can imagine if you're in your 20s and you're going through this, how that can play a toll on you.
It can even take a toll on your fertility too. So it's just really, and unfortunately insurance doesn't like to chip in and pay for the preventative, like the mammograms and that type of thing at such a young age. But we really do have to be our self-advocate in that area, especially go get that BRCA test done and find out if it is something that's hereditary.
Definitely. Have you ever tattooed anything other than nipples and areolas on breasts?
Can I say this? Yeah, so I have. I recently did a phalloplasty for a gentleman. He had gone through transitioning from a female to male, and so I actually tattooed his penis for him. They usually harvest the skin from their arm or somewhere like that, and so it needed color and veins and all this kind of realism. So I've done a phalloplasty. I do work a lot now with top surgeries, a lot of just gender affirmation tattoos. I do a lot of belly button tattoos as well. The reason for that is we have a lot of great weight loss surgeries out there. Like, I'm not even sure what all they're called, but like the balloon and the bypass and all that. So we have all these patients that are losing large amounts of weight, which is leaving them with like an apron of skin that kind of just hangs and folds over. And so that becomes a health risk to them for bacteria and fungus and all kinds of stuff to start going on in there. So insurance will pay to have that apron of skin removed, as long as the plastic surgeon does not touch the patient's belly button. So what is happening for them is The doctor comes in, pulls that apron of skin down, does more or less like a tummy tuck for them. So now they don't have a belly button anymore. It got cut off in that fold of skin. And so insurance will cover it that way. If the patient's like, but I want you to rebuild me a belly button, after that, insurance considers it to be a cosmetic procedure and they will not cover it. So that means patients, unfortunately, they're forced with, do I want to spend $15,000 to $20,000 and have my belly button rebuilt, or do I want to have this done through insurance at no cost to me and I won't have a belly button? So a 3D belly button has become a thing. So it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I don't know, I was just thinking 3D areolas and nipples, and now we have belly buttons too.
Yeah, I'm just like, wow, so we're gonna go home and think on this one.
I know. And then I'm thinking, I didn't know that you were doing, I can't remember names, phalloplasty?
Yes.
Phalloplasty? Phalloplasty,
I believe. Phalloplasty.
Yeah.
That's a whole new world.
I didn't know that was something that required some tattooing or could use some tattooing either. So that's also cool.
Yes. We also are seeing fingernails, toenails, web tattoos. Our women of color coming in, sometimes they'll have hypopigmentation on their toes, or maybe their shoes have rubbed or something, and so we'll put some color in their little toes and stuff like that. So sometimes earlobes.
Cool.
Yeah.
The whole new world.
Any body part pretty much can be tattooed almost, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's honestly just thinking outside the box. Like forever, patients were like, okay, we need surgery to fix this. And now, thank goodness, these plastic surgeons are on board with what is an alternate to having surgery, because surgery is always risky and there's usually a trade out. There's an additional scar or you have to go under anesthesia. So we're kind of starting to think outside the box now.
Okay. That's good. Hopefully things continue to change, even like when you mentioned how early we can get mammograms, like hopefully they start lowering the age for the insurance company so that more
at like 20, 25, and then it became a more regular thing. But just get them in young, get them thinking in that whole thought process of, I need to have my breast checked.
Absolutely.
Because for sure they think it's like something that's just for older women, but then really not. Okay.
And something that's just for women too. We do have males that have breast cancer. And so it's really an embarrassing thing for them to go through, because most men feel like it's a woman's, disease. And so they're usually very insecure about it.
That makes sense. So with that, do you feel like most of your clients are coming to get the paramedical tattooing solely for themselves, or you think they're more concerned with how other people will view them or anything like that?
We as women, we are so hard on ourselves. I feel like we are our number one biggest critics. And so I feel like these women coming in, they feel like they are doing it because they want their significant other to find them beautiful or to be attracted to them. And not to be vulgar, but what I tell my patients all the time is, men love boobs. So what if you have a scar? They really do not care. It's us that care. It really is us that we look in that mirror, and when we see a scar, we beat ourselves up, or we deem that we're not beautiful anymore. And so that's kind of a twofold question there, is that, yes, I feel like these women do feel like they're doing it for their husbands or their significant others. But deep down, I just really feel like it's more of us and how hard we are on ourselves.
I wonder what, it's probably a loaded question, but how do we change that thought? Like, why are we so hard on ourselves? And
one is freeing these breasts on social media, like the male versus female nipple on social media. Males can have their shirt off on social media, women can't. And so I just feel like bringing awareness to what your breast reconstruction can look like, what should look like, and educating these patients, because a lot of these women will go through having their mastectomy done, and maybe it's not the most desirable result. And so insurance will pay for them to have it done again. They don't have to stop. So they can come right back in and have a revision done if they want. So I just feel like education, social media is a huge tool, I feel like, in order to just help normalize breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And the scars and the burns and that type thing.
Right. Definitely common.
It really is. 1 out of 8 women, but because it's on the breast, it's kind of a hush hush thing that's deemed sexual or dirty or perverted, and so it kind of gets, kind of shoved in with pornography, and that's so sad.
Yeah. It always comes back to the over sexualization, for sure.
Yes.
For sure. Particularly in America.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
Why do you think it's important to offer the services that you offer?
Oh my goodness. My answer 20 years ago would have been, I want to change lives and I want to make women feel beautiful. And that's still my answer today. But looking back, just the service that I offer has truly been life-changing for me and my family as well. I was a single mom for almost 5 years, and I was mom and dad. And so I was kind of high strung. I run a tight ship in my household. And so I can remember going into work one day and just being so angry and bent out of shape that the kids had gotten Play-Doh and this brand new rug. And I spent $300 on that rug. And I get to work, and then I start hearing this breast cancer survivor story on how she found out she was pregnant through being pregnant. I mean, she found out she had breast cancer through being pregnant, and that she truly felt as though that was an angel baby that had been sent to her to save her life so that she could still be a mom to her 2-year-old. And I just feel like God has reached through my patients so many times and just given me a tug back to reality that we're blessed, and I take it for granted every day. My family takes it for granted every day. I'm going to choke up, but we're just so blessed, and we take it for granted. We really do.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
A caring person too in that field, compassionate, because it is that situation is very traumatizing and can be depressing. But I can tell you have a beautiful spirit to help those women doing beautiful work to help them get through that difficult time in their life.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, not trying to make you cry, but hey. Who said, once you be yourself, and I mean, that's your real honest answer, and that's just what it is. I always say, let the emotions do what they're doing. So just let them be. They're gonna do it.
Right.
Okay, so for those who view this and might be interested in getting paramedical tattooing, are you able to share, like, I guess, a price range maybe they could look in? Or I know you said insurance can cover it too. So
absolutely. So how my company Ink Boutique works is, if we cannot get it covered for you by our insurance, we have the average price of this in half. It's usually around $1,000 for both breasts to have a realism tattoo. My company cuts that in half so that it's affordable for everyone. We do them for $500. Speaking of, if anyone on this podcast knows of anyone that needs this service or would like to have it done, I'm going to be speaking at the Houston, it's the PMU Con Women of Color Conference, and I'm going to be doing a live presentation on a model. And so I'll be doing it complimentary that day. If anyone wants to be my model, what a blessing that is to me and all the women that are in the audience that are learning this profession.
Right. So I mean, I just like the way that everything has grown for you over time, and now how you're in the position of being like just a leader in paramedical tattooing, especially here in Houston, and you're able to spread the wealth and share with others. I think that's really
doing. Like God dripped on me a little at a time, because when I first got into this, if I would have known I'm going to be speaking and teaching and all this, I would have ran for the hills. I'd be like, oh no, no way, I'll go be a door greeter at Walmart. I'm out of here.
That's why it's so purposeful, and even just how you talked about getting started and how God shows you things. Like it just seems very purposeful. Like you're definitely operating in your purpose, and that's great.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. I love operating in your purpose. That's what it's about. All right, so let's
term before, but I love that, operating in your purpose.
One of my signature lines on several emails that I have is with purpose. So I try to do things in purpose. So it sounds like you're doing that too.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's continue on this positive note as we're ending. We love to promote body positivity here on BoobTube. What advice would you like to give viewers about their own body positivity?
Oh my goodness. Now you're going to hear how I talk to my patients, because stop being so hard on yourself. When we look in that mirror, we just see our flaws, and men are like that. When men see us, they see the beauty, they see a piece of art, and just they see us through a different filter. And so we really just have to let it go, let go of some of the pain and the trauma that we've gone through, and embrace those scars. We're here. Those scars are a reflection that God still has a purpose for you, and that it's beautiful. It's not an ugly thing. It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
It is.
I think some people will need to hear that and will appreciate that message as well, for sure.
Yeah. Men love boobs. They want to see them. Even if there's a scar on them, they want to see them. Doesn't matter.
They really don't. They don't care.
And so we just have to love ourselves.
Starts there, loving ourselves with purpose.
For sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, again, we thank you for joining us today. This has been very informative for us, and I'm sure viewers as well that they will enjoy this information because it's so interesting.
Yeah, very much so.
Inviting me. I'm honored to be here, and I'm happy to help in any way that I can. If your viewers have any questions or need any help, they're always welcome to reach out to me as well.
Okay. And where can they find you on the socials? Where can they find you on the socials?
So my Instagram page is at Ink Boutique Houston, and then my website is inkboutiquehouston.com.
All right.
Yeah. And they just tell me for Pink, they'll find me.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. And, this has been a wealth of information. I had no idea about this. So hopefully this informed a larger community as well.
Thank you for what your ladies are doing. I really appreciate it. And y'all have a great day. Thank you again. Bye.
We're so happy to have been joined by our guest today, who shared so much information to help us or help anyone that you may know. So if you are in the Houston area in need of the services, please do reach out to our guests. Also, please tune in next week as we discuss showing off your breasts and new breasts, whether constructed or in its original form, because hey, it's still hot out there and boobs gonna be out there. So.
And still traffic. Right now, there's still traffic. Just whatever time you're watching, there's still traffic.
2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Right.
Out there. Thank you again. Tune in next week. See ya.
Adios.